guys, welcome back to my channel. This is me serving you rich auntie vibes from my mini honeymoon location for my 3rd anniversary. Hello and welcome. I have been celebrating my 3rd anniversary for the past 2 days. Today is the grand finale and I'm heading home, but I feel so sad. I'm going to be leaving this beautiful location behind, but it was fun while it lasted. I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video 5 things I have learned in my 3 years of being married. Number 1, love is not enough. Love is the foundation of every relationship. You see the guy, fall in love, and you get married, right? Wrong. You fall in love, but then there are things that made you fall in love with that person. So it's beyond just love. You know, you looked at probably their standards, their principles, and so many other things. And when you get into marriage, to be honest, these are the things that actually take you through. When those chemistry, when the butterflies, there are days where you really don't, trust me, there are days where you don't even feel 1 ounce of love for your spouse. And you begin to question yourself, did I really get married to this person? Do I really love him? And things like that. The foundation of your relationship, which transcends love, is what carries you on. You know, through the difficult times when you're having those heated conversations and you're really sparked up and you want to say hurtful things, it's the other things, you know, that goes beyond the butterflies in your stomach, like understanding, commitment to the relationship. When you get married, you have that commitment of, I want to make this work. And it takes maturity to do that. It takes compromise. It takes patience and so many other things that keeps you going, that transcends love. That's why I say love is not enough. Number 2 thing that I have learned, communication is key. I know we always hear that, communicate, but trust me, in marriage, it is an undisputed fact that you have to speak up, you have to communicate. You're in the same space with this person for the rest of your life. He's not a mind reader. You are not a mind reader. You know, when we're in relationships where he gets me so much, he understands me, and so he can read my thoughts. Madam, you will die in anger because the man cannot read your mind. If he offends you, open your mouth and say it. You know, when we got married earlier on, my husband would like small things that would upset me, and I would just pack my face like, and be going around the house. Baby, are you okay? I'm fine. Because in my mind, he knows, he can see that I'm not fine. He's supposed to know. But madam, open your mouth and talk. Talk to him. He's your husband. She's your wife. Babe, you did this that offended me. Or babe, I don't like how this is done, or that. And then you sort it out and you move on. But you have to keep the lines of communication open. There should never be a time where you close you break the lines or cut off the bridge and say, I'm shutting this person out forever, I'm not speaking to him again. Regardless of what is going on, even if you are fighting, even if you're having a quarrel or conflict, you must keep the lines of communication open. It is very important. Note that communication is a 2-way street. It involves giving and receiving feedback. So when you talk about something, if something is, you might not necessarily be upset about that thing. You have to understand that your spouse might not see that thing as wrong or right, but that's just his own perception of things. But when you take out time to table your issues and get his feedback about it, that's when the circle of communication is complete. You give and you listen. Be open and honest about your feelings and ideas. Like, don't assume that okay, if I don't talk about it and sweep it under the carpet, it's fine. Me personally, before I got married, I'm that kind of person. I don't like confrontation. I don't like talking about things. If something happens, I make excuses for you, I sweep it under the carpet and I move on. But then eventually what happens is one day I will blow up in your face, and then it's going to be for something very insignificant that if I had opened up about all the previous incidents, it probably wouldn't have gotten to that. So far in marriage, I've come to understand that I have to be open. If I don't feel right about something, I need to let my husband know and say, babe, this thing, because he, like in the initial stages of our marriage, I would just pack my face like this and pack my lip up and be going, and he's asking me what's going on. I was like, it's fine, because in my head I'm saying, okay, it's all right, he's my husband, I've forgiven him, let me just move on. But then eventually I started like building resentment on those things that I did not deal with, and then they began to create bigger issues. Slight things began to annoy me because I knew that it wasn't the things that he was doing, it was the pent up things that I had not spoken up or opened up about. And then I had to get to that realization and say, okay, I need to open up. I sat with my husband and said, this is how I feel. This is the reason why I'm behaving the way I'm behaving. I haven't been opening up to you about all the things that have been upsetting me, and now I want to explode, and I just let everything out. And since then, we came up to an agreement where, tell me what it is, be open with me, be honest with me about how you feel. When I ask you what's wrong, don't tell me I'm fine and you're not actually fine. We're fond of doing that. It's fine, I'm okay, but you're not fine. But your face is saying something else. Your actions are saying something else, but you're saying I'm fine. So be honest about how you feel. This is your spouse. You can be vulnerable with him and tell him how you actually feel, and that's what it should be. Moving on. Number 3 thing I have learned in my 3 years of marriage: be open to learning. This is very tough because you grew up in a certain way, your spouse grew up in a certain way, and you guys are coming together. You have to go in with an open mind. He loves you, yes. You love him, yes. He's perfect, yes. But trust me, when you begin to live together, you will see those imperfections. He presses the toothpaste from the middle, I press the toothpaste from the bottom. He pulls his shoe and he leaves it in front of the door. You keep your own inside the closet. He eats with his mouth open, you eat with your mouth closed. He drinks cold water, you drink hot water. These are all things that I'm just giving like random examples, but the truth is there's so much learning and unlearning. So unlearning means this is how it's done in my family. This is how it has been done in the days of my mother and the days of my mother's past. Madam, that's not gonna work. I got to that point where I had to realize that yes, this is me and my husband. We are unique individuals. What happened in my mother's days is not probably applicable in my own relationship. There are some things that I had to unlearn. There are some things that I had to learn. Even in sex. Like you say, oh, they told me that this is the only way they used to do it. Madam, you might be wrong. In terms of cooking, there are certain things that I used to cook, or a certain way that I used to cook that my husband doesn't like, and I had to learn how to cook for him, because you're not cooking for yourself alone. You're not doing this for yourself alone now. You have someone else that you have to be considerate with. Okay, he doesn't eat a lot of spicy food. You love the spicy food. He's learning, okay, how do we come to that compromise or that middle ground where the food is not too spicy, it's not too bland, and we can both eat and be happy. Number 4, patience is a virtue. I know we have heard this statement several times, but it hit me, or it slapped me in the face when I got married. Oh yes, because I am personally not a very patient person to start with, and then combine that with living with somebody else under the same roof that you expect things to be done in a certain way. You have to be patient with one another. If you got married over 30, just imagine all that you have learned from your 30 years, from when you were born till that 30 years. And then in 1 year, you expect your partner to just sleep and wake up and forget everything in his dream. That's not possible. There are a lot of expectations when you go into marriage, and you just expect your partner to just start doing them. He should just know it. This is a common sense thing. He should just understand that. Why is it so difficult? And then we'll be speaking English. But the truth is, you have to be patient. The process of learning and unlearning takes time. You took some of us 30 years to learn certain things. Your parents took 30 years to train you and teach you in a certain way. You cannot just forget about it overnight. You need to be patient. I had to learn that patience, and at the end of the day, nobody is perfect. Your spouse is only but a human being. There's so much that he can do. There's so much that she can do. You need to learn to be accommodating of their shortcomings. He was my Mr. Perfect. Well, newsflash, he's not 100% perfect. There are some imperfections here and there, but that's where the love comes in. That's where the understanding, the compromise, all the other good stuff that we talked about in our point 1, that's where it comes in. Patience is a virtue. Things change with time. Give it time. Time fixes all things. So, the last but not the least. So there are so many things that I have learned in my 3 years of marriage, but I cramped it all into 5. So my point number 5 is, don't sweat the small stuff. Like, you might be that person that likes to, we need to sort it out right now. We need to have a conversation. Something happens, small matter. Excuse me, mister. Let's come to the round table. We need to table this matter. We need to discuss it, auntie. Not everything is worth that fight. Not every issue is worth waking him up in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. Let's talk. Hey, that's the dreaded sentence that most men don't even want to hear. At 3 a.m. you wake up and say, let's talk. Uncle knows there's trouble. But seriously, don't sweat the small stuff. Like, I'm a perfectionist to an extent, and I like my things done a certain way. It has to be like this. So any small thing like this, uncle, no, babe, we have to do it like this. We have to, and then we get into these unnecessary squabbles, unnecessary anger, unnecessary high blood pressure for nothing. You just be vexing and be parrying for nothing. Don't sweat the small stuff. Some of the things you just do like this, brush it and move on. Not everything is worth sitting down at the round table to talk about. The ones that are worth it, yes, because you have eternity to live together. You have eternity to deal with all these issues, and they don't end. Every day a new one comes. So honestly, as long as your ground principles, the things that hold your core together, is in place, my dear, these little imperfections are not worth fighting over. Love him, forgive him in advance, and move on. These are my 5 key things that I have learned in my 3 years of being a newlywed. Like I said, I am still in that WhatsApp group. I still have 2 years before you guys kick me out. So yes, I'm gonna enjoy my 5 years of being a newlywed in that WhatsApp group. Alright guys, thank you for watching today on my 5 things series. If you have any comments or any suggestions about this video, please drop it in the comments. Let's talk about these things. Tell me, are there other topics that you would like me to talk about in my 5 things series? I'll be glad to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe. The link is below. Share this with your friends. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts on the things that I've talked about today. Till I see you next time, remember to live life golden.